Okay. Okay, Hood.
How you doing, Shaun? Hood Rubino, Devil's Digest. So I know when you have time to digest everything, things maybe don't look as good as they did or maybe as bad as they did in real time. But just the fact that you had significant changes with the starting quarterback, with you being the play caller, are you looking back at him and surprised that everything came together in such a positive manner and so quickly, or maybe early last week you realized that this can really work in short order?
You know, you always cross your fingers because it could be a disaster at some point. But I thought from a preparation standpoint and what I saw from both Trenton and Emery, and then the kids' excitement of opening it up a little bit, getting the tight ends involved. I was hopefully it was working. I thought our mismatches that were going into that game were advantageous for us. And so when you look back, was there points that we left on the board? I thought, from an execution standpoint, we could have been better, especially on third downs. We were at 50%, but I thought there was a couple of check down plays that we took shots at. But overall, I thought the kids did really, really well executing the plan that we put together in 3 days.
And on the defensive side, I mean, obviously the team did perform well for most quarters, but did you feel as maybe letting the foot off the gas pedal a little in the second half, and what did you make of that performance?
Going into the fourth quarter, we're up to three scores, and so you get into that game. Do I help run the clock out, or do I just keep on going? And it's a catch-22 because that could happen and going the wrong way too. But I thought that we just needed to execute a few more plays. I didn't think we were good when I went back and checked the statistics. I didn't think we were good on first down runs. And that was something that I need to make sure that I do better myself. I thought we were 6 for 10 efficiently from a pass standpoint, but we weren't efficient enough on the runs. And so I need to make sure that we're deliberate on those and making sure it's an emphasis for our linemen to understand that we need 4 or 5 yards in that regards. But overall, I thought the kids did pretty well. Hey, Chris.
Chris Cartman, Son of a Source. Upon review of the game, did you see enough from Trenton to say that he's going to be the quarterback or this week, or will there be a continuing competition? And can you reflect on just kind of how you thought he performed in the game?
First of all, I thought he did an incredible job, getting the ball out quickly, making those decisions. That was kind of the game plan, making sure that it wasn't long progression, that we understand, from a stature standpoint, we had to do movements. We had to do all those things to give him a chance, and he did really, really well. Going back to that first question, Trenton has earned the right to be the starter. Our kids are doing well with him, and they trust him. It's a bad spot for Emery. The great conversation that we had with Emery is that, Coach, I'll be ready if the time comes. And so that's always hard on a kid. But Trenton will be our starter. I think he did everything right. He plays with that moxie and that little bit of it to it, and our kids trust him.
So, just to follow up, what does that do to sort of, does it provide anything in terms of just like settling things with the team, or what does that do for the offense, et cetera?
I think it gives the offense confidence that Trenton will be the guy in going forward. But Emery is very competent and very willing and able to take care of this offense. Will there be different changes with both quarterbacks? I don't think so, because I think the offense will fit both of these guys. And so, but going forward, Trenton will be the guy that I think will give us the best shot to win.
Coach, Kevin Redford, House of Sparky. I'd like to go back to your Linfield days for a second.
That's a long time.
What now through a good handful of games, do you ever recall back on anything Coach Rutschman taught you, or what have you taken from him in this process?
Coach Rutschman, it was a huge influence on why I went into coaching. I think they're at 67 consecutive years that they have not have a losing season, and I've been fortunate to be a part of that. The way he prepared, the way he took care of his players and his coaches is something that I try to do as well. And just the way he went about his business, and he's still there coaching kickoff returns. One of my coaches, Ed Langsdorf, is here, retired too, and so just a great coaching staff. But the culture that they had there is something I absolutely definitely want to instill here too. When you can go 67 years and not have a losing season, and that's consecutively, I think you're doing something right. Maybe. Yeah, now we have some depth there. We still need to manufacture pressure. I think somebody asked me, in all of the Pac-12, there's probably only a couple of schools that are getting to the quarterback with just four. But we have to manufacture pressure. I think our D-line is getting back in full force. I think our linebackers are playing. We just need to fundamentally make sure that we run fit the run game, because we've been exploited a little bit, and now we're going to face a UCLA team that runs the ball really, really well. And then we have to, again, the emphasis about the third downs. I showed them on there. They're at 50%. That's not good enough. And so we got to get off the field. A lot of it is the situation of football from a knowledge standpoint that we as coaches need to educate the kids. What do we need to do in order to be in situations that we understand the situation we need to get off the field? I don't know if kids play today, play to play, more than the situational aspect of it. And that's from a coaching standpoint that we need to make sure we teach them so they understand it more. Okay, Michelle? He's running this morning, so we'll see how it goes this week, but he's questionable going in this week. So I haven't got with Jerry because we have our 3 o'clock meeting in regards to any of the injury reports. So I know he was running out there, and so we'll see how that plays it apart. I think he's a huge weapon moving forward, just because they called him on TV the Ralphie running down the middle of the field. Shoot, he was looking for contact. I told him, you can't be doing that, looking for contact. But he feels more comfortable, I think, in space, blocking in space with his great big mitts. He making plays all over the field. So I think is a lot more comfortable with the schematics that we brought, and he is a mismatch for the smaller safeties. And then they got to tackle that guy. And it looked like in the Colorado game, some guy shied away from that. And he's going full bore. I didn't know he was that fast, and so I teased him. But he must have been watching Ralphie run through the field at halftime. But he had an incredible game. Yeah, I think it's all factors. I think, from an execution standpoint, for the kids' knowledge to understand, they're going to throw a slant. The reason why the receiver is a little wider because they're coming to you, and then we are backing up from it. From a schematic standpoint, we need to make sure that we are putting our kids in the best situations to stop that too. And so I think it's on both things. I sat down with Coach Donnie and Coach Marvin, and we need to fix that. And so they understand that it got my attention too. I thought at one point going into the fourth quarter, we're 3 scores up. I want to be 4 or 5. I don't want to be that guy that they're giving me. The cardiac kids, they're giving me that heart attack on the sideline. But I want to finish a game with 4 or 5 scores up, and we need to get off the field. And it's that cliche of putting the gas, and I don't want to say the stepping on the throat thing, but yeah, that's we need to finish games in a dominant factor. Yeah, he's one of our better linemen, and when you don't have that, and then you're shuffling guys around, there is that chemistry. But when you lose somebody that is means so much to that offensive line from a leadership standpoint, yeah, we miss him a lot, and it also thins our depth too. And so we're just praying that hopefully nobody goes down as well. But as soon as he gets back, I think we'll be full force and ready to go. It also gives the other guys some time to play other positions and in case something happens again.
Hey, Coach. No, Furtado, son of
Yes,
Source.
no.
As far as the run defense these past couple of weeks, you mentioned some holes in there, and then I just want to get your perspective on what some of the challenges have been and how you adjust, moving into this next game. Obviously, with Zach Charbonnet, really quite a good run game for UCLA.
To me, from a schematic standpoint on a defense, everybody has a gap to fit. I mean, it's all run fits. When somebody does not do his job in strikes or uses his hands, puts down his head, slants the gap, does those things, then you put the guy next to you, then you got two gaps open. So it's all about execution from the kids on making sure that you fill your gap and not doing something that you shouldn't be doing, trying to gain an advantage. In the game of football, I think from a defensive standpoint, there's sometimes people get selfish and then I'm going to go make the play. Well, that's not your play to be made. You need to make sure you take care of your job. And so going forward from an emphasis standpoint, that's what I'm trying with the defense. Do your job. Other people are going to make plays, but the defense is going to get better. You don't have to go make the play. Just do your job and do your run fit, and then we'll be solid that way. I think we're solid from a fit standpoint. We're not solid from making the tackle, wrapping up, and we're not solid from everybody doing their job and everybody being on the same page. And that's what happens when UCS get hit for a couple of times. But just overemphasizing that with our kids. Yeah, and there are two different types of running backs. Charbonnet is the kind of the power guy. Dye was more of that slippery, lateral guy and then burst guy. And so we need to make sure that we hit him as soon as he gets to the line of scrimmage and not let him get going. And so, again, going back to those run fits, we better be solid on those. And then we got to wrap up and then play a team defense. When one guy's got him wrapped up, everybody got to be to the football. And so that's our emphasis this week.
Hey, Coach. Jake Anderson, Arizona Sports. With you taking over the play calling duties, what's kind of going to be the role for Glenn Thomas here going forward?
Glenn does a great job. He was up in the, he handles the pass game with me. We go back information-wise from the top. We're always talking. It's always hard for someone when you have to make that decision, but he's done great with our quarterbacks, with Trenton, in that conversation. We still sit down and game plan together, and so it is a team effort on the offensive side. Maybe the play calling is a little different, but the way we prepare is exactly the same, and so he plays a huge part in that.